Hi all, that time again. I've made a decision to make more frequent, shorter videos from now on, just to avoid anything going over sort of 10 minutes or so, hopefully. So, eye on the clock, I'm going to keep them down, make them a little bit more watchable for you guys, and do them a little bit more often. So, yeah, I'll just start where I left off last time. The recent awards in the Premier League, obviously Klopp's won the Manager of the Month, which was fantastic. Couldn't really argue. He's won 5 out of 5. Obviously, you can compare him with the lower expectation clubs. You know, if they win, 3 games out of 5 and get a draw or something as a promoted team is good. Look, the likes of Sheffield United and Wolves, but if you're top of the league and you've won 5 out of 5, you can't do any more than that. So, if he'd have drawn one or lost one, I'd have probably said, yeah, someone with a worse record at a worse team may have deserved it. But no, I think that's the right decision with Klopp. And to top that off, Trent won the Player of the Month as well for December, which was really, really well deserved. Obviously, goals, some assists, some clean sheets in there as well. And just overall good performances. A lot of people always say defence is the place he struggles the most, i.e. defending. But no, I think he's even improved in that aspect. So, yeah, I mean, what is he, 21 years old? He's got such a bright future. If he doesn't start for England in the Euros, I don't know what more he's got to do to get in over the likes of Trippier. But yeah, I think he'll be starting there. And yeah, on to bigger and better things. But back on the field, the only game that I can review today, there's only been one since the last video, was the Tottenham match. Obviously away, winning the game 1-0 with that Firmino goal. Overall, I was quite disappointed, if I'm honest, with the performance. Obviously, we kept a lot of the ball in the first half. I managed to get that goal as well. But yeah, I mean, lots of errors, lots of mistakes. Yeah, just the overall performance was poor. I mean, how Spurs didn't get at least a draw with some of those late chances, I will never know. Harry Kane's on that pitch. He's scoring at least one of those 2 chances that fell to them, and we're dropping some more points. But yeah, really sloppy. Obviously, a win's a win. Away from home against a team of Spurs caliber is a great result, and no qualms at all for that. But the overall performance was not quite there. Obviously, Man United are up next. Very inconsistent team. Do better against the top teams. And I think if we make any errors like that, we could be punished. Obviously, Alisson makes the difficult saves look easy. He makes himself like he's not been troubled. But some of them shots he's had to save against Spurs were a lot harder than he makes them look. His positioning makes them look like fairly routine, but they're really not. So it's good to have him behind us if we do make an error. Gomez still looks a bit shaky to me. Obviously, Matip and Lovren are coming back now into fitness, as well as Fabinho. Will give us another layer of protection. So that's really positive. Don't know if they'll start at the weekend. I'll run through that in a moment. But yeah, another win. 14 points ahead in the league. Still got that game in hand. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll keep that going into the weekend. So yeah, just a little bit quick updates of other things before I get onto the United preview. Henderson won the England Player of the Year, which I think was fantastic. I mean, obviously you can say people have maybe done more in an England shirt, but in terms of an England Player of the Year, Henderson is a hands-down winner for me. He's lifted 3 trophies with Liverpool. He's captained us to 97 points and a 14-point lead this year. The importance of him in that England team for me is huge. We don't really have another sort of defensive midfielder of that level. I mean, we've got Declan Rice that can play in there, but for me, he's not the same level as Henderson. Nowhere near the experience. Good player, good backup in that area for the Euros, but Henderson, for me, if Kane doesn't go, which has been rumoured now, he, in my opinion, captains England to the Euros. And being a captain of Liverpool, he's lifted a lot of trophies recently, so maybe he'd add an international one as well. So that would be nice. FA Cup opponents have been confirmed. Obviously, everyone thought it'd be Bristol City. It's actually Shrewsbury away from home. Sandwiched right in between 2 midweek matches. The first one against Wolves, the second one against West Ham, which is that rescheduled one from the World Cup in December that we had to postpone. So I would imagine full-on youth team reserves. Brewster's obviously left on loan, but there's plenty of the Jones and the Elliots. I would imagine will be playing in that game. I would think they would be enough to go through. It's a similar sort of MK Dons level game, so he might throw 1 or 2 first teamers in there. The ones that haven't played as regularly as some of the first 11. But yeah, I would expect us to go through in that 4th round tie and bring on the 5th. I believe 6 is the quarter final. So I know the FA Cup's not that important to Klopp, never has been since he's come in, if you look at the teams he's played and, how far he's got in a tournament. But, with all these great teams in the past, winning the trebles, your Bayerns, as I've mentioned, your Inters, your United, it would be nice to get, to have a go at getting a treble. It's a bit greedy. The Prem's pretty much there. Champions League is not easy at all. But we've made the final in the last 2 years. So, I would expect us to get through Atletico. Depending on who we get in the quarters, you never know. But yeah, why not have a go at the treble? That would be lovely to see. My last thing before I get onto the United game is a bit of a rant. The African Nations Cup has come round again. So for those that are not aware, it's just happened in the summer just gone in Egypt, which was the first time it's been held in the summer. Obviously, Africa's a very hot country, so previous to that, they used to hold them in the January during the season. So, teams like Liverpool would lose Sadio Mane for 6 weeks or so, which wasn't ideal. It's not great for the African players to have to leave their club in a really busy, important season to go and play against the likes of Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, etc. It's not a great tournament, in my opinion. Also, the fact that it's now held every 2 years, not every 4. It's just becoming a bit of a farce for me, Fair enough, if you want to hold it every 2 years in the summer, in an African country that's not, ridiculously warm, crack on with that. But holding it every 2 years, looks like they've gone back to the January, it's just insane. It's just purely making money. It's ridiculous. So you've got the likes of, Keita, Mane and Salah that in January 2021 could disappear for 6 weeks. In no way are we going to have the lead we have this year, next year. We might be in and around there, but the loss of those two at that time will make the difference between winning the league and not winning the league if we lose them for 6 weeks. Worst case, they might come back injured from the tournament and need another couple of weeks rest. So, yeah, I'm really, really disappointed in that. As I say, they've just had one. Algeria won it in the summer of 19. So 18 months later, they're going to host it again. It's just getting ridiculous. It's like the Ashes in cricket. I've just lost all interest because it's on every other year it's on, it seems. It's sometimes because of the summer and the winter break, sometimes it's 6 months or 18 months. It's just silly. So yeah, I watch this space, but I cannot imagine Klopp for one moment saying in January 2021, Salah and Mane, off you go, boys, go, see you in 8 weeks time. They might even start missing the Champions League knockout games for those. It's insane. So my main thing was, guys, you're getting paid all this money by your club. I think it's about time the likes of Salah and Mane say, you know what, sorry, but if you're going to host it during the season, I've got club commitments. I can't attend. I've got to boycott it. It's not a fact. We had this problem with Matip a couple of years ago when he was called up by Cameroon, even though he decided he didn't want to play. But that was seen as rejecting an international call-up, and he would have possibly been banned for playing. So we ended up going without him playing in our team when he was our most important centre-back for a month or so. And he didn't even go to the tournament. So I think FIFA need to get involved and say, you know what, African guys, you cannot host a tournament every 2 years or less, 18 months, and expect clubs to release, their prized assets. African players in Liverpool's team is huge. It's 2 of our best 3 players in the team. With Van Dijk being the other. So, in my opinion, it's getting ridiculous. Even if it was held in January every 4 years, I would be a bit more understandable. But it's, every couple of years we're going to lose. Every other year we're going to lose those two to an African tournament. It's not on. So, in my opinion, they need to get the priorities straight. They might already have been thinking it, and they might say, you know what, if it's held then, I can't go. I'm going to stay with Liverpool in that important time of the season. Let's hope so, because it's not fair if you look at the likes of Man City. All right, they might lose Mahrez, but, they've got Sterling, they've got Jesus, they've got Aguero, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've got De Bruyne. They can make do. Liverpool's, as I say, arguably 2 best attacking players will not be there for 6 weeks, could miss, 8 to 10 games. It's not on for me. So that was my little rant on that one. I know I'm getting close to the time, so quick preview on the Man United game. I'll try not to go on too much longer. Rashford's been confirmed as, highly doubtful. So I don't think he'll play the full 90, if at all. He may come on in the last 15 if they're struggling. But I don't think he'll be featuring from the start. In terms of Liverpool, as I mentioned, we've got Matip back in training, Fabinho back in training, Lovren I think is close, Milner and Keita I think are out. So I'd expect Alisson in goal. I'd expect the usual, the back four of Trent, Robbo, Gomez and Van Dijk. I think Henderson's going to continue sitting in the hole in the 6. I would expect Lallana to start, possibly Chamberlain, and on the other side Wijnaldum, the man that has it all. Front three would be the usual, Salah, Mane, Firmino. Bench-wise, should start to look a bit stronger than it has in recent weeks. It's been really bare bones, before the injuries. Recalling Phillips, who's obviously gone back out on loan now for defensive cover. But I would expect, the Adrian, Matip, possibly Lovren. I'm not sure if Shaqiri's back yet, but Minamino should probably be on the bench. Origi, obviously Lallana or Ox, depending on who starts. So pretty strong bench now. Getting back to almost full strength now with the squad, which is great. It just shows you how strong we've been through this busy period with 6, 7, 8 injuries at times. So really impressed with that. In terms of the game, it's the only team we've not beaten this season in the Premier League, Man United. Obviously a big rivalry there as well, but I think the Anfield factor is going to make all the difference. So I would expect to win. A draw is not the end of the world. We've got enough lead. So, I think we can get over the line. I think we're going to go full strength, as I've mentioned. So, I'll go for a sneaky 1-0 win. Hopefully keep that clean sheet record going, which has been fantastic. Just a quick one to finish on. Obviously, after that, there's a bit of a gap. Upcoming fixtures, as I mentioned, we've got the Wolves one in midweek, which is the 23rd game of the season. Then we've got the FA Cup, everyone will be rested, and West Ham game after that. So the title race will become much clearer, I think, from then. Fingers crossed, minimum we'll have a 17-point lead going into game 25 at home to Southampton, which will mean 17 games left with a 17-point lead over Man City. So good little run after that. You got your Southamptons, Norwich, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth, Everton, Palace. So a nice little run for us. If we can get close to maximum points out of that, we should be out of sight and hopefully winning the title with some games to go. After that, it's Man City after that little run away, which is the big one. So I think even if we get to that point and we lose that game, not having lost many points in between, we should already be there. So fingers crossed on that one. Bring on the game on Sunday, and I'll catch you soon.